father, who called 911, told dispatchers he was hearing voices and had beaten his son with a baseball bat. He appeared in court. That's 31-year-old Matthew Ponomarenko. He wouldn't say when he did this act or why he did it, only said he was hearing voices. And Ponomarenko made his first appearance by video in municipal court, where he faces a capital murder charge. The judge there decided today to continue a no bail order in this case, and that case will be sent over to the Cuyahoga County Common Pleas Court to continue this Friday at the first hearing at 9:45. Now, this hearing, too, was emotional for family who was there inside of the courtroom watching all of this happen. Of course, this is their first time in court for what will likely be many times. And as all of this happens, donations are also pouring in for Jax's family online. A GoFundMe page that was set up has already garnered over $20,000 and continues to grow. Now, back here in Parma, this vigil again set to begin here in just a few minutes, and we would expect it to go for a few hours here. Of course, we expect people to speak here coming up in the next hour, and we also expect some people to pay tribute via song. Of course, we'll hopefully bring you more of that later on What Matters Most at 6. For now, live in Parma, I'm Brandon Simmons, 3 News.
I know, Brandon, there's so many in the community that are so upset by this, and they just want to help in any way that they can. So it's glad they're embracing that family, certainly. Thanks, Brandon. I know that's a tough story to cover. Right now, we're going to turn to breaking news out of Lorain. A dive team in Lorain resumed its search for 18-year-old Elena Camacho. She disappeared with 20-year-old Nathan Orona from Lorain in February. Orona's body was pulled from the water yesterday after a fisherman called 911 to report that there was a body floating in the waters near a boat launch. We have crews on the scene right now. We're continuing to bring you updates as we learn more, not only here, but also at WKYC.com. Romney.
Now on your feed at 5.
We have so much to look forward to, so much promise and potential of where we are, and so much reason for hope. But right now, I'm scared.
Today, CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky pleaded with all Americans to work together to stop a possible fourth surge of COVID-19. She said that the 7-day average for the new cases in the United States is up 10%. She added that hospitalizations are also on the rise. Walensky warned that our current outlook looks very similar to what Italy, Germany, and France went through just a few weeks ago, adding that it feels like impending doom.
I know what it's like as a physician to stand in that patient room, gowned, gloved, masked, shielded, and to be the last person to touch someone else's loved one because their loved one couldn't be there.
Well, that plea comes as Ohio is seeing a swing in cases. Today, 1,497 cases were reported overnight. That is about 100 fewer cases than the 21-day average, but we've had a few days above 2,000 in the last 2 weeks. We're also at 147 cases per 100,000 people. That is a very important metric because we need to get to 50 per 100,000 people for the governor to drop all of his health orders. And the silver lining here, 28% of Ohioans have at least one of their COVID vaccine shots. That number is only going to be getting higher. And today, Ohio officially moved into its next vaccination phase. Anyone who is 16 and older can now get the vaccine. It is important to note that 16 and 17-year-olds are only eligible to receive a Pfizer vaccination. That's because the other shots by Moderna and Johnson & Johnson only covers people who are 18 and older. But as more people get vaccinated, local health officials echoed Dr. Walensky's message, saying we cannot let our guard down.
It's just like with the flu, vaccines aren't 100%. So we still want individuals to be cautious, yet be able to enjoy more time with individuals outside of their bubbles.
There's concerns that the scheduling may get crowded as more people are eligible to get vaccinated, but the state is expected to receive more doses. Ohio opened the state's first COVID-19 mass vaccination site nearly 2 weeks ago in Cleveland at the Wolstein Center. It's gone great over there. And another one is coming to Summit County Fairgrounds. That's expected to open this Saturday.
All eyes are on the murder trial against former police officer Derek Chauvin. He faces several charges in the death of George Floyd an unarmed black man who was killed in May.
This is a live look for you inside the courtroom where attorneys gave opening statements earlier. It's now been followed by witness testimony, which is what you're seeing now. Meanwhile, outside, there's been a stream of protesters and plenty of security.
NBC's Jay Gray is in Minneapolis, Minnesota with the very newest developments. Jay.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that you...
As the trial begins, the core of the prosecution's case is immediately clear. Out of respect for the family, we aren't showing the cell phone video that captured the final minutes of George Floyd's life. But the state wants to make sure jurors do see those images, opening with the video and including pictures of the incident on a timeline displayed in the courtroom.
Mr. Derek Chauvin betrayed this badge when he used excessive and unreasonable force upon the body of Mr. George Floyd.
The defense countering during its open, telling the jury Chauvin did exactly what he was trained to do by Minneapolis police, and saying that other factors, including drugs and a heart condition, caused his death.
The use of force is not attractive, but it is a necessary component of policing.
What you're about to give will be the truth and nothing but the truth.
The first witness called by prosecutors, a 911 dispatcher who watched video from a street surveillance camera while working the call.
It was a gut instinct of, in the incident, something's not going right.
An instinct that pushed her to make this call to a supervisor.
I don't know if they had used force or not. They got something out of the back of the squad, and all of them sat on this man.
The dispatcher telling the jury it was the first time she'd ever made that type of call. Attorneys say there are around 400 potential witnesses in this case. Of course, not all of them will be called to testify. The trial expected to last 3 to 4 weeks. Jay Gray, NBC News, Minneapolis.
Jay, thank you. And coming up on What Matters Most, our Laura Queso gets more perspective on day one of the trial from a law professor from Case Western Reserve University. And again, that is coming up at 6.
Now to the very latest on the investigation involving 6 Rocky River teachers. They're accused of making inappropriate comments about a female student and sharing a graphic picture. It has a lot of people wondering why no charges were pressed, and I looked into that today. 3 News confirmed that this Thursday, the Rocky River School Board will hold a special meeting to discuss the investigation of charges or complaints against a public official or employee we believe to be the 6 teachers still under school investigation.
If the current investigation concludes the staff members in question failed to act appropriately, then disciplinary action will be taken. As stated a moment ago, we notified the Rocky River Police Department when we were made aware of the situation.
The Rocky River Police Department will not file any formal charges. In a 51-page report, the department explains the alleged inappropriate picture sent in the teacher's group text, not of a student, but was, quote, a spoofed picture of June Cleaver with her dress pulled up, exposing her genitalia. The report goes on to say there was no mention of students in the text thread. Today, the Rocky River Teachers Association president released a statement to 3 News, in part saying, quote, I'm glad that the criminal investigation is over and that the police determined that no inappropriate pictures were taken or texted. The internal investigation will continue, and I know that all the teachers involved look forward to responding to the allegations. To be clear, while no criminal charges will be brought against any of the 6 teachers involved because of the discussion or text message, the school system is still investigating comments the teachers made that were caught on tape after a Zoom class and will only speak out once their investigation closes. If you'd like to read the entire statement from the Teachers Association president, I'll put that on our website, wkyc.com. Next on What's New, helping kids make decisions. A local doctor weighs in on what parents can do to help indecisive kids become more independent.
Plus, showing up to shine. A look at some of the winners of this past weekend's NAACP Image Awards show. Also, Matt's got a look at a forecast. Matt, it's pretty nice out there right now.
Yeah, Betsy, it's fantastic right now outside of the chilly air that we have, but we're going to get rid of that tomorrow. We introduced to you the new outdoor dining forecast for tonight. This will be a daily occurrence. I got to probably get on the sidewalk here, but you can see as we go through tonight, nothing but a thumbs up, but you will need the jacket as you're heading out. That changes tomorrow. Our temps go up and then they come down, and it gets interesting this week. I've got the forecast coming up. Betsy?
Thanks, Matt. Well, it is almost Easter, everybody. So maybe you're looking for a great Easter brunch spot this week. Well, that's the focus for Save Our Sauce. And our first stop, the very popular Blue Door Cafe in Cuyahoga Falls. For years, this adored spot has been known for its German apple pancakes. You're welcome. Buttermilk fried chicken and dumplings, and bacon, tomato, and avocado quiche. And our Doug Tratner made a whole list of the best brunch spots. That's up now on WKYC.com/SaveOurSauce. We'll be right back. Well, Romney, I'm going to give you a little insight into a daily occurrence in our house.
Okay.
This is me. Violet, you can either wear the unicorn shirt or the rainbow shirt. Which shirt would you like to wear?
She goes,
I don't know. And then she's like doing other things, and I'm like, focus, just pick a shirt. I want you to pick. I don't want to have to pick. But you know what? It's just a fact of life. Kids are indecisive.
Absolutely. That's the way it goes. So our Danielle Wiggins asked Dr. David Miller with University Hospitals how to actually help kids be better at making their own decisions.
As parents, it's our job to raise our kids for the real world. However, if we recognize that our children are indecisive and can't make a decision, what are we to do?
Giving them the opportunity to make small decisions at first that are safe decisions where there's no negative outcomes and either way they go is fine is a good way to begin. Another thing that we can do is, give them gradually increased options for decision making with increased weight on the outcomes. And I think sometimes kids can get focused more on the negative outcome than understanding how good it is that they actually made a decision. Again, even if there is a negative outcome, praise the effort and praise the process. And I think also maybe sometimes checking ourselves and giving the kids time to make that decision too. When we're in a busy day and we just need them to make a choice, sometimes it's easier to make it for them if they're being slow. And then the child can learn that if I just don't make a decision, someone will make a decision for me and things still happen.
That was Danielle Wiggins reporting. The doctor also says if your child makes a decision and has a negative outcome, praise the process and turn the negative outcome into a positive by focus on what they learned through the process.
The first thing I thought of as soon as that came out, that one topic, like, you know, the child will learn. Right. What the child learns is that mommy's head pops off after about 5 minutes, and then it's all downhill after that. But keep in mind, even if you just give 2 options or whatever, your child, once they do make a decision, is making a decision, so respect that and use it.
There you go. And I always gave you the option, Betsy, if you give her 2 options and she just can't pick, say, well, if you don't pick one or the other, you're going to go naked. And I guarantee she'll pick something.
I'm actually not so sure sometimes.
Oh my. Scratch that then, never mind.
I'm trying to get away from calling her hot mess because I think there's going to be a stigma, but the fact of the matter is my daughter's a hot mess.
Okay, you know, ignore my suggestion. I'm not a parent. I don't know.
It's all good. We'll get it nailed down, and the decision does eventually come, but I'll keep that one in mind too, for sure. Boy, today, what a gorgeous day to be outside with plenty of layers on and jackets and whatnot. Matt, I will say, though, I have noticed a few more folks sniffling and sneezing. The allergies are kicking up, but this is all part and parcel with the swing into spring that we are taking.
Yeah, Betsy, you're absolutely right. You know, the allergy season isn't the stuff that we see. It's the stuff that we don't see when the trees are starting to bud like they're doing now. So, yeah, that tree pollen's going to ramp up first. Then we hit the grass pollen come May and June, and then it's ragweed beyond that. So buckle up, everybody. These warm days are great, though, aren't they? We did not have one today, though, unfortunately. We've got temperatures that are kind of stuck at or below average outside. We do have the shadow of the lake once again. Whenever we have light wind outside, that cold air out over the lake likes to expand. That's what we call the lake breeze. So much colder near the lakeshore. You get south of that, it's not a bad day. We've got bright sunshine. We're in the low 50s generally. You get in the sun, it usually feels some 5 to 10 degrees warmer. So it's not that bad, right? But tomorrow, just wait till you see tomorrow's forecast. It really looks fantastic. The system responsible for all the rain and snow last night, we did have some of it, and all the wind is now well off towards the east. Look at the clear skies from here back towards the Dakotas. But things are changing off towards the west. We've got a strong storm system moving in. This has a lot of wind, as you can see by those tightly packed isobars, but it's also got a lot of warmth on the front end of that. You can see the high wind warnings and advisories that they've got out in areas of plains, pretty widespread, right? And then you can see the warm air as well leading up to that warm front. Tomorrow, we get warm, and we flip things around in a hurry. I think we'll make it into the 70s tomorrow area-wide, even all the way up towards the lakeshore. And then things drop out, as you'll see here in the forecast. National Design Mart hour by hour forecast. Not a bad start tomorrow morning. We'll start in the upper 30s to low 40s. Temps should kind of bottom out tonight with that southerly wind building in. Look at this. Lunchtime, head on out northeast Ohio. Mid-60s with sunshine. We'll eventually start to bring in some high clouds in the afternoon. We should make a run at 70 degrees, if not a few above that. Tomorrow night, we bring the clouds in. Here's that cold front moving in. Likely a line of some gusty showers, maybe some storms wake us up as we get into Wednesday morning. Temps in the 50s. Boo! There we go, down to the 40s by afternoon. We'll likely have a break before we get more precip in here at night. And that precip doesn't look to be all rain at this point. A bigger picture of this system, you can see these isobars connecting with the Gulf. No moisture tomorrow, right? We don't have that connection long enough, but you give it enough time and that moisture just arrives like that. So there's our rain. Colder air is going to build into this system Wednesday night, and what that will do is change over some of this rain to, yeah, some of the white stuff coming down. We still average about 6% of our seasonal snowfall from here. We'll likely have some lake effect snow with much colder air on Thursday. But hang tight, everybody, because the good news is that is going to set us up for a fantastic weekend, and the heaviest snow will be north and east of us as it looks right now. We're still maybe talking a couple inches around here. We'll have to see how that plays out. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast. There's a temp drop Wednesday, colder on Thursday. But look at the weekend we have ahead. And Romney, we're talking Tribe Home Opener a week from now. How about 66 degrees? I remember some Tribe home openers where they're shoveling snow. I know we all do.
Whoa.
So 66, not too bad right now, and it looks dry at this point.
Throw in the sun, and I think we'll all take it. Thanks, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Next up on What's New, calling it quits after 11 seasons. Why Sharon Osbourne is leaving the talk, coming up in your Pop Break.
And it's a unique talent you've probably never seen before. What is this woman doing with her mouth? Well, that's ahead in our Worth the Watch.
Welcome back. Let's get your daily dose of entertainment news, including some changes to the talk, the NAACP Image Awards, and the music star set to welcome a new baby. Here's Kira Cotton with your Pop Break.
Sharon Osbourne has decided to leave CBS's The Talk after 11 seasons. The news comes after an investigation was launched into allegations of misconduct and offensive language by Osbourne to past and present co-hosts.
And don't try and cry, because if anyone should be crying, it should be me.
That was a clip from Osbourne's most recent incident with co-host Cheryl Underwood as they discussed her support of Piers Morgan. As a result of the investigation, the show was put on hiatus, but is expected to return April 12th. From talk show to award show, the NAACP Image Awards took place over the weekend and stars showed up to shine, even from the comfort of their own homes. Issa Rae scored the win for Outstanding Actress in a Comedy Series for Insecure, while Bridgerton's Regé Jean-Baptiste took home the award for Outstanding Actor in a Drama Series. Bad Boys for Life, starring Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, won for Outstanding Motion Picture. And the kid from Akron, LeBron James, even picked up the President's Award for his dedication to social justice. And after helping us all through quarantine with his Instagram live parties, D Nice won Entertainer of the Year.
It's been an honor to provide entertainment and inspiration during one of the darkest times we've experienced. Thank you all.
And last but not least, Eddie Murphy took home the Hall of Fame Award. From music and social media sensation to expecting dad, Jason Derulo is expecting his first child with girlfriend Jenna Froome. The 34-year-old artist and his influencer boo announced the news over the weekend on Instagram. Derulo captioned a video he posted saying, "Couldn't be more excited for this new chapter in our life. Best of luck to these two." And there may be trouble in paradise for Tiger King's Joe Exotic and husband Dylan Passage. Passage is reportedly seeking divorce, but is, quote, in no hurry. Back to you guys.
There's a lot to unpack there.
I was just saying, I don't know what to talk about. I will say this. I don't know if you tuned into any of the Instagram DJ live sets from DJ Nice. Incredible. I jammed out sometimes in my apartment to his music.
That's a cool little thing to know because, you know, everybody's always like, oh, what do I want to listen to today?
Yeah, it was neat. I think they might have shut it down, but because there was, you know, some issues with recording artists and do they have the rights and it's Instagram Live and all that. But before all that drama, he had some really good remixes.
That is good to know. I'm going to have to try and find if they're still doing that.
I'll send you the link.
I'm glad you kids are always on top of all the cool things going on and you can let us old folks in on the details.
Oh, yes.
All right, let's talk about this. This is pretty cute. You know, everybody has that hidden talent, right? But is it a useless talent? That is the big question. Because if it's a hidden talent and it's useless, typically it's really awesome. Like this one that Taylor can do. She can play the trumpet with her mouth. Listen. All right, I don't think the brass section of the Cleveland Orchestra is going to be knocking on her door, but that's pretty darn cool.
But Betsy, wait. How did she figure out that talent?
That's a really good point.
I'm just wondering at what point did she just start was she trying to whistle? Did she accidentally make the note? I don't know, but she's good at it.
She's very good. She can do that better than I can sing.
I'm
like,
gonna
I'm
see
super
if I can
jealous
sound like
of
the
it.
flute in the mirror later, Talon. I don't know. All right, interesting. Good story though. Okay, coming up next at 5:30, we have a look at what some workplaces may look like once more people start going back into the office. Our Danielle Serino shows you how some companies are working with employees to get back to normal.
Plus, closing the pay gap. A look at the numbers of single moms being hit hardest and what one group founder says about rising above.
And the Indians home opener is almost here. How you can help celebrate with an all-new ice cream flavor for the season. We have the details ahead.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Thanks so much for joining us again here on What's New. I'm Betsy Kling. Romney Smith is in for Jay for the next couple of days. Romney, it's great to have you with us.
Always fun to join, especially when there's a lot of news. And so let's get to it because we are just jam-packed today. We begin this half an hour with 3 things you need to know. Today, opening statements started in the murder trial against Derek Chauvin. The former Minneapolis police officer is accused of killing George Floyd, an unarmed black man, last May. Chauvin is facing 3 charges, including second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter. Video of the incident shows Chauvin kneeling on Floyd's neck for more than 8 minutes. Today, prosecutors claim that the use of force is a necessary part of policing. Meanwhile, a 911 dispatcher testified that her gut instinct told her something wasn't right at the scene. Attorneys say there are about 400 potential witnesses in the case. Of course, they won't all take the stand, but that trial is expected to last at least 3 to 4 weeks.
Also taking place right now in Parma, there's a vigil at Veterans Memorial Park for 5-year-old Jax Ponomarenko. This is a live picture from that area. His father admitted to killing him in a 911 call last week and was charged with aggravated murder. Today, he appeared in court via video wearing a protective suit. The judge continued the no bail order and announced the case was being bound over to a grand jury. The next court hearing is set for Friday morning.
And the massive container ship stuck in the Suez Canal is back up and moving. Today, salvage teams freed the ship, which halted global trade for nearly a week. Billions of dollars of products pass through the canal every single day. The owner of the boat said severe weather caused the boat to turn and get stuck.
That has been dramatic to watch all of that unfolding. Well, now on to our top talker. 28% of Ohioans have at least 1 dose of the COVID-19 vaccine now. And as we start gaining control of the virus, more businesses are reopening, and that means employees are coming back into the office. So this week, we're helping you reset your routine and prepare you for when that day comes.
Lots of people looking forward to it. We'll cover a variety of topics from helping your kids and pets adjust to mentally preparing yourself. So to kick things off, our consumer investigator Danielle Serino looks into what happens if you don't want to go back to the office and what your rights are if you do return.
I've loved working from home this past year, despite having to voice stories in my closet and dealing with a cat that photobombs my Zoom calls. But a CNBC and SurveyMonkey survey reported 65% of working women believe the pandemic has made things worse for women at work. So what's a company to do?
People will say, well, it just won't work for our business and we couldn't do it. And that's sort of been disproven. So it doesn't mean that you should do it, but the cat is out of bag.
Robert Glazer is the founder and CEO of marketing company Acceleration Partners, which has been remote for 14 years. He's also written books on how companies can thrive in a virtual workplace.
And we built sort of a culture around that, looking for people who really valued accountability and flexibility.
Several employment studies say it's a strategy that's working, including one from Harvard, which found that call center employees at a Fortune 500 retailer increased their productivity by up to 10% when work shifted to home. But that can't and won't be the case for many companies. For some, like digital product and engineering firm Headstorm, which welcomed its employees back with a paint the office party, it's about camaraderie.
We've got a lot of younger employees, and they really experienced being isolated.
For others, it's the challenge of complying with labor laws, according to Rick Selby, an employment attorney with Dworkin and Bernstein.
Where you have hourly employees and you have to track the hours they work, establishing sign in and sign out procedures.
But what if you don't want to go back? Well, unless you're unionized or have a medical condition that makes you more susceptible, you don't have a choice.
Most employees are employees at will, and that allows a company to set reasonable rules and regulations. That can be, the location of the work, what the rules are inside the workplace.
That includes whether or not you have to wear masks or get vaccinated, with few exceptions.
There's actually already been a lot of law developed in that area over the last 5 to 10 years, as flu vaccines became more commonplace, there were some employers, particularly healthcare providers, who would mandate that employees get the flu vaccine every year.
For many employers, bringing back workers will come down to profitability. But Glazer says the most successful outcome will come to companies and employees honest with their needs.
And I think it's a good time to check in with you and your own sort of personal values and make sure that those are still aligned to your employer. You know, it may be time for that a change for everyone is the right thing to do.
There were laws that gave employees 12 weeks paid leave if they couldn't come to work for COVID-related reasons, including daycare or school closings, but those laws have expired. I'm Danielle Serino, 3 News.
Putting on the to-do list to ask about a paint the office party? That was crazy. Like, what were they doing?
Yeah.
Just paint it all up and do your own thing for sure.
Here's what I think.
It was a big transition coming in, wasn't it? You did it. You were at home longer than I was, but it was a big transition to come back to work.
Well, I was never fully at home. I was always allowed to come in and anchor on weekends, so I was one of the lucky ones that got to kind of stay. But I think that a lot of jobs that thought, no, you have to come to work, who suddenly had to make it work virtually, I think they're going to have some flexibility moving forward, and that's needed to accommodate different families in different situations. And I don't think they can argue anymore that, nope, this is a job that 100% you have to come. There are those jobs, certainly. Police officers, firefighters, nurses, doctors, they have to go to work. But I never thought I'd do reporting virtually, and we made it work.
We totally did, yeah. And I think a lot of it is logistics from here on out, too. You know, we've got summer coming. Families kind of have their way of doing things right now with the school year.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, my hunch, at least my, wish, I guess, for a lot of folks would be get to summer, get through summer, and then let everybody get back to everything normal at the end.
A lot of moms saying, wait, let me work from home over the
let me
summer.
just stay home for summer.
Right.
It makes it a little easier. That's some great insight, Everybody's got to be able to communicate and work together. And tomorrow, our Maureen Kyle is going to talk with an expert about how to prepare your kids for when you return to the office. It's not as easy as you may think it is. Meanwhile, you're running down the driveway.
Yeah.
Bye! All right, coming up for us here on What's New, working moms, you know who you are. Well, we're going to talk about the gender pay gap, specifically if you're a single mom.
Plus, a heartbreaker of a weekend for Stipe Miocic. After losing the UFC heavyweight championship, the message he wants all of his fans in Northeast Ohio to hear, and a clue, potentially, about his future plans.
And guys, you're talking about work from home. Get me out of here as soon as you can, please. We've got warm air across the Plain States. Boy, is it warm. We've got 70s and 80s. This warm air comes in for our Northeast Ohio Tuesday. It's going to be beautiful, but then things change. We've got a big system midweek. We'll talk about it coming up after the break.
Time with his family. With his family, and hello. Thanks for getting the prompter back up for me, and we are talking about Stipe Miocic today. Cool. Great, thank you.
to say a big thank you. This is a graphic from Jesu Catholic School in University Heights. They're celebrating Women's History Month and Women in STEM. And they gave me a shout out this morning on their morning announcements and on their social feeds for being Cleveland's first female chief meteorologist and also for our Girls in STEMs initiative here at 3 News. So thank you so much to them. We are the ones who are honored to be able to shine a light on women and girls in STEM, of course, and just science in general with people. It's been a blast to do that. I was really touched by this. It's a small school. But man, that's really cool to be honored by some kids there and those teachers. So thank you so much to the kind folks at Jesu Catholic School. I do appreciate you very much too. So shout out right back at ya. Good stuff. All right, Matt Wentz, we have a lot of science to talk about. This forecast, it's all fun and games when it's sunny and nice. Everybody can laugh and hee. But it's coming to an end. This time of the year, things can turn very quickly, and that turn is coming upon us rather fast.
Yeah, Betsy, we talked about March coming in like a lamb, and, we thought maybe it doesn't look too bad next week, but this one storm system is really going to make it go out like a lion. I'm telling you, it's going to be a game changer this week, and I think it's going to be an impactful storm system in terms of how much things change and how different it will be from one day towards the next, as you'll see here in the forecast. Today, though, we're kind of in between. We had the cold rush in yesterday. We had some wet snow last night in the higher terrain out east. And now today we're starting to recover. We call this the bounce back day. We're in the 50s, bright sunshine just shining down on us, a little bit colder near the lakeshore as you'd expect when we have light winds. But tonight, not that bad. We're going to drop back near 40 degrees because we've got a southerly push that'll keep our temperatures steady. Look at the sunshine from here all the way out towards the Dakotas, the Rockies. We've got a vigorous system heading at us, so there is some very strong wind on the front end. There's some very strong wind behind it, and there's a very sharp temperature drop where we go from abnormally warm to unseasonably cold. It's snow and wind out in areas of the northern Rockies. And I mentioned that wind. These are all high wind warnings or advisories. This is going to be a wind maker heading in. We're not going to see anything locally like we saw last Friday, but we still are going to turn pretty gusty over the next couple days. In fact, here are your top wind gusts. I'm going to take this through the rest of the week. You can see we've got light wind now under high pressure. But watch tomorrow afternoon. We get that southerly wind. We'll likely have gusts over 30, so it will be a pretty breezy afternoon. It will be warm, though. We'll likely have some gusty showers, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, on Wednesday. And then when we bring on the cold behind this system, we'll have some wind coming out of the north. So pretty breezy week out ahead of us with some gusty periods in there as well. Again, no high wind warnings or anything like that. Just a sign that things are going to be changing. If you get warm air here this time of year, it's got to come via the wind. If you get cold air here, it's got to come via the wind. National Design Right Hour by our forecast. Let's talk tomorrow first. Tomorrow's going to be a get outside day. No matter what you're doing, open up the windows. We start near 40 degrees tomorrow morning. Clear skies, 60s by lunchtime and by afternoon. I think low 70s with a nice breezy southwest wind. Dry all day tomorrow. In fact, sunny most of the day tomorrow. It's tomorrow evening. We'll see high clouds work in. Here comes the leading edge of that weather system. It will be a sharp front. This is 5 a.m. Wednesday morning commute. We'll have lots of rain around, perhaps some gusty thunderstorms as well. That moves through. We're back into the 40s beyond that on Wednesday. We'll quiet down for a little bit, and then we're talking perhaps a little bit of mix. We'll take you briefly through this here as you can see this system as it moves in. We're on the warm side of things Tuesday, as you saw. Colder air works into this system Wednesday night, and by Thursday morning we could be dealing with some snowflakes around here before that system eventually pulls on out. But yeah, we could certainly see some accumulating snow, maybe a couple inches out of that. We'll see how it plays out. The good news is it sets us up for a beautiful weekend. And in terms of snowfall, it does look like they're going to have maybe up to 10 inches areas of New York. Not for us, folks. Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast. There's your temp fall. But look at the recovery on into the weekend. We're talking sunshine and 60s, and that looks to stick around, Romney. So once we get beyond this little speed bump, we'll call it this week, we're looking A-OK.
All right, I'm going to hold you to it. I promise. It's time to see what's clicking in Cleveland. And for that, of course, we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Hey, Stephanie.
Hey, Romney. Great to see you. I have an interesting story for you. There's a TikTok video going around with millions of views that shows how your $20 bill might be worth $500. It's by Eric Miller, who runs the Coin Show account, and he's right. If you ever notice serial numbers that are misprinted and don't match, That's very rare, and people will pay lots of money for it. Collectors do this for all kinds of mistakes, like with this $20 bill that sold in January for almost $400,000 because it got a Del Monte banana sticker stuck on it in the middle of printing. This makes me want to start using more cash. Former Cleveland Browns coach Hugh Jackson is making bold new claims. On ESPN Cleveland today, he told the hosts of The Really Big Show that the Browns offered him a secret contract extension in the middle of that perfect winless 2017 season, but didn't want to go public with it, and that he was just the fall guy for all of those losses. He said he was lied to before he came here in 2016 and that the Browns blew up the roster to rebuild. I have no comment, and so far, neither do the Browns. And former, now UFC heavyweight champ Stipe Miocic shared this message today for fans after that tough loss on Saturday. He says, "Don't worry, first of all, he's okay after that nasty knockout, and that he loves his Cleveland fans and he hates letting us down." He thanked his team, saying they win together and they lose together, and that Francis Ngannou saw his opening and he took it, but that it won't happen again. And he congratulated him on a well-earned victory. Now, there has been some chat about whether Stipe will retire, but I don't think that's the case, Betsy and Romney, and here's why. It's that "it won't happen again" comment. But we do know he's going to take a little time to spend time with his family right now.
Yeah, I mean, in the whole thing, it breaks my heart when he says, you know, like he's disappointed us or he's let us down.
Oh,
Dude, no, we're so proud of you. It's crazy. Like, just do you.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. We will talk to you again tomorrow. Coming up for the rest of us, doing, gone. If you want in on some Indians action early, well, stay tuned for a sneak peek of this new ice cream and the good cause you can help with if you buy some this season.
Plus, we're talking about the female pay gap, but more specifically, the single mother pay gap. As we wrap up Women's History Month, we're taking a look at the options for equal pay and negotiations for flexibility. And now to our pop quiz. On this day in history, the very first wedding in the White House happened. What year was it? Was it 1812, 1832, or 1846? We've got the answer next, including the juice on who got married. All right, so before the break, we asked you which year did the first wedding in the White House happen? Betsy, any guesses?
Nope.
Okay, I didn't have this either. It's 1812. And get this, here's what makes it really juicy. President James Madison's sister-in-law, Dolly Payne, and U.S. Supreme Court Justice Thomas Todd were the ones who got married. And that's not it. Dolly was also the widow of George Washington's nephew. So very political.
Wow.
Very political. And I have to say, if you had access to get married in the White House, I think a lot of us would choose it.
That's the whole thing. Remember when the engagement pictures of Tiffany Trump came out and a lot of folks were all, if you had the opportunity to get your picture taken there,
I would do it. Who else can? Me. That's it. And that's braggable. So I get it. All right. Well, today marks exactly 1 week until the Cleveland Indians home opener. And the team is sweetening up the excitement, quite literally. They partnered with Perry's Ice Cream for a new flavor called Doing Gone. It's full of chocolate cookie dough and crushed cookie swirls with chocolate cookie dough pieces. And here's some other sweet news. For every purchase of the ice cream, 5 cents will be donated to Cleveland Indians charities. Now, I know you're like, 5 cents, Romney? Really? Doesn't sound like a lot, but we all know that it adds up and a little can go a long way. You can buy the ice cream at Progressive Field and other local retailers. Just call ahead to see if they have it in stock. I would absolutely try that ice cream.
Oh my gosh, I am so ready for anything related to baseball. Doing Gone is the least of it. There's the mustard and, hot dogs and popcorn.
It's that tradition. I think I only eat hot dogs at baseball games. I will not eat them any other time. Right.
And they can't be the fancy ones.
Right.
They got to be the rot gut, in the stands, dollar dog night, have 5. It's all good. No problems. Well, everybody, it is Money Monday, and today we are taking a look at the pay gap for single moms. We know that on average, women make 82 cents to every dollar that a man makes. And according to a study, mothers make just 75 cents to every dollar paid to fathers. And single moms make 54 cents for every dollar a married father earns.
There is a lot of pressure on moms to be the primary parent. So we know that in 80% of separated families where the parents live separately, whether they were married or not, 80% of those, the mom is the primary custodian. That is our culture.
Well, while experts say there's no one-size-fits-all approach to close the pay gap, financial independence is crucial. Romney, a financial planner, says it's not all about equal pay, but an equitable financial situation for single moms. So remember, there's a little bit of give and take outside of just what arrives on that check.
So much goes into it, but you know what? Single working moms work so hard to make ends meet and to get their jobs done in an excellent manner. They certainly deserve to be paid as long as they're qualified doing the same job. I say pay them the same.
Yep, and it's not just the jobs at work, but the job at home. Taking care of the house, taking care of the kids, taking care of the pets, making sure everybody's happy.
All that.
Everything. So yeah, big giant shout out to the single moms out there.
Absolutely.
Just incredible women in everything that you are able to do.
Certainly. All my praise.
Salute.
All right, next on What's New, feeding frontline workers. A year into the pandemic, and they are still putting themselves at risk every single day. How one woman is using her job as a giving outlet.
Then at 6 on What Matters Most, day 1 of the Derek Chauvin trial in the death of George Floyd. We have a live report from Minneapolis where the first witnesses are taking the stand.
Hey, Al, mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check, mic check, mic check, 1, 2, 3. I'm Laura Queso. Thanks, Al.
I do. Hey, Al, testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Russ Mitchell. I'm Laura Queso. Hi, Sarah. How are you?
Welcome back. Well, it's people like Tammy Rivera who make our world truly a better place. The weekend marked 1 year since the Memphis Uber driver started delivering meals to hospital workers. She has delivered thousands of meals from local restaurants.
It's been crazy. About the time I thought no more money was going to come in, another group did a fundraiser, or one of the local businesses stepped up and bought one or more meals, and it just kind of snowballed.
Now, of course, Tammy's story attracted worldwide attention last March. And in May, hospital workers even gave the single mom a new car so she could continue her efforts. So well deserved. And she kept it up for months, Betsy.
And so appreciative, too. You know, when this whole lockdown thing happened, and downtown Cleveland, areas around, the drivers weren't, the restaurants were closed, so you couldn't really get out. And even if you wanted to have food, the grocery stores were starting to run out of stuff, so you couldn't pack your lunch. I mean, there was like a little bit of a juggling act there. But once they started to open up, man, that's a lifeline for the restaurants, and it's a huge kudos to our healthcare workers.
All right, thanks for watching What's New.
Romney and I will be back here again tomorrow. For now, What Matters Most with Russ and Laura begins.
Now at 6, remembering Jax. A vigil tonight for the 5-year-old killed in Parma as his father makes his first appearance in court. Also tonight, trial underway. It is day 1 of the Derek Chauvin murder trial for the death of George Floyd. We'll take a look at opening statements and the first witnesses. Expanding eligibility.
This helps us all get back to a far more normal family unit where you can see all of your relatives and have some support in place.
What those 16 and older need to know ahead of making their COVID vaccination appointments. And a colossal comeback. We'll take a look inside a store reopened downtown today for the first time since the riots of last spring.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ Mitchell.
And I'm Laura Queso. Tonight we have an update on the Parma father arrested for the murder of his 5-year-old son.
Right now there's a vigil taking place for Jax Ponomarenko. This is a live look at Veterans Memorial Park in Parma, where friends and family have gathered to remember the young man who was killed last week.